Welcome to the Rise Inside podcast, hosted by Justin Starbird and powered by RISE Robotics. Listen as host Justin talks to experts from the RISE team about topics relating to mechanical engineering, industrial design, commercialization, and innovation. True collaborations work when ideas are integrated at inception to solve significant problems. Rise Inside brings together how the team continues to work with great folks to commercialize ideas. You're listening to the Rise Inside podcast. Here's your host, Justin Starbird.
Welcome back to the Rise Inside podcast. My name is Justin Starbird, and today I am very excited. I get to welcome new Chief Executive Officer of RISE Robotics, Hiten Sonpal. Hiten, great to have you on today. Congratulations on the new role. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Justin. I'm happy to be on the show and really excited to be part of RISE Robotics.
Oh, well, I got to tell you, we're happy to have you. This is, I know there's been a lot of moving pieces behind the scenes, but it's really exciting to, see you come in over the last month or so, full of gusto and putting to work your agenda and things. So it's been really exciting to see. Happy to have you. A lot of people are wondering, where you came from. What were you doing before joining RISE?
I'm a computer engineer turned product and business leader. I'm really passionate about shipping products and building high-performing teams. Before joining RISE, I was actually Aaron's coach. I ran a consulting practice, helping startups get their robotics and automation products to market faster. Before that, I was president at Electric Sheep Robotics, based in the Bay Area. And before that, chief product officer and CEO at Mowbot out of Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Preceding that, I had two separate careers at iRobot. First, I was in their military business, where I was head of hardware engineering, leading a team of about 150 engineers. And second was in their consumer business, where I was program leader for iRobot's robotic lawnmower, which was their biggest expansion initiative till date. Teams that I've led have shipped millions of units of robotic and other products across over 20 SKUs, and I'm looking to make that happen at RISE Robotics. Many SKUs, millions of units.
Yeah. That would be awesome. It's been a long time coming to get it to get RISE, we call it a long-term startup, right? And it's been exciting to see the growth, the passion maintained and sustained over all these years. So having fresh eyes here on the team, it's got to be exciting. I'm really excited to, hear your vision on things, and I know it's early in your tenure here, but let's talk about your role and what does it look like on a day-to-day basis so far?
So as CEO, I'm responsible for the overall direction, strategy, and the financial health of RISE. This week, I'm realigning our project portfolio and priorities to be consistent with a strategy that I laid out for the business a couple of weeks ago. In addition, I'm helping Aaron on our capture approach for a DoD proposal that is due Friday, today, and also rolling out an innovation time carve-out for employees every Friday.
That's cool. What the innovation carve-out? Talk a little bit about that. That'll, I'm sure that's exciting for the team.
Yeah. So, we have a lot of areas where we could advance our technology, and we almost, we like any startup, we have too much to do and too few people. And one of the things about building a high-performing team that I've learned is finding ways to harness the internal and intrinsic motivation of employees to work on stuff, especially things that they're passionate about. So what I'm running is a 12-week experiment where we're letting folks on Friday afternoons work on whatever project they want. There'll be a light amount of vetting, but in general, folks can pick anything that they want to work on, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's related to product, whether it's related to our website, and they can also work in teams. And then at the end of 12 weeks, we'll make an assessment of how it's impacted the quality of life at work for employees, whether it's resulted in any meaningful impact to the business, and sort of how do folks feel about it.
Yeah. Hey, that's an incredible opportunity for our team to, sort of expand their wings, so to speak, and so that's really neat.
I was going to say that this is not, original to me. Google has done something like this before. And we ran a similar program at iRobot. And so this is something I wanted to bring to Rise as well.
Hiten, you talk a lot about how excited you are to work with the talent and the people that you've met so far. That also includes leadership and who you're inheriting as part of your core team, and that's pretty neat. It's not necessarily common to have the types of personalities and backgrounds that you're now walking into. What has that been like for you to sort of get acclimated to and getting to know?
That's a great question. When I was working with Aaron, he gave me the opportunity to talk to folks that had been at Rise and left for one reason or another. And as I was speaking to them to understand the challenges and the strengths at Rise and opportunities, one thing became very clear, that the rank and file at Rise were very talented. When I was at iRobot, the talent level was very high, and Rise had an equivalent level of talent, which is really exciting. And then I'd also worked with Tom Phelps before, the Chief Operating Officer of Rise. When I was running hardware engineering for iRobot's government business, Tom was running the PackBot program, which was the government business's most profitable and largest program at the time. So I knew I could work with Tom. We had worked before. And that was exciting because I knew what I was getting with Tom. He's hands-on, he gets things done. He's the perfect CEO for our company. And then as I got to know the founders, I saw that they each had some unique strengths. Blake has this dogged determination to beat physics. I don't know how he does it, but that's a fantastic strength to have. Aaron brings the same kind of tenacity to building relationships with customers and investors, which is really valuable for a startup. Kyle has a design background, and he brings this passion for the user experience. And so it's not necessarily about the tech, but how are we making a difference? And Tomas is just one of those folks that builds on other people's ideas. So you could have a half-baked idea that has some good in it and it's not quite right. And so he'll quickly jump to the core nugget of the idea that makes it interesting and valuable and then build on it. And so he's someone that just keeps moving the team forward. I think it's just an amazing combination to have at a startup. It just the diversity of talent and the depth of their strengths is incredible.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. It's certainly been pretty fortunate for us to hear their visions, how it's come together, and even their history beforehand. I think that's been a huge asset to Rise through the last several years. You coached Aaron, before from a leadership perspective. I'm sure there's going to be mentoring there, but what does Rise mean to you?
Well, speaking of the mentoring, I think Aaron tricked me. I didn't realize that it was a 6-month extended interview that he was running me through and sort of figuring out how we would work together, which is great, actually. I got to know a lot about the business before I made the decision to join. I knew the challenges of the business, I knew the opportunities, and I was really excited. To me, Rise is an opportunity to make a dent in the universe. I intend to replace every single linear hydraulic actuator on Earth with our Beltdraulic technology.
That's amazing. That is amazing. What made that vision so important? I mean, when did you adopt that as something that you're like, hey, I can get behind this. I think I can make a difference, meaning you as being able to lead the team to, create the difference here in the world.
Well, I first heard about Rise about 4 years ago from someone that I'd worked with before that had joined Rise as employee number 4 or 5. His name is Hiten Sonpal. He's a fantastic engineer for us. And he had mentioned to me this company that he was working with that was doing this crazy thing with replacing hydraulics with a belt-based system. And I was skeptical. I didn't think that anything like that could be done. I mean, hydraulics has been around for a long, long time. I just didn't see any alternatives there that would be as good. And Tyson sort of talked me through all the benefits, and I was still skeptical. So he pointed me to the patent, and I read the patent, and I was sort of taken aback, and I started thinking, well, there's something here. This is really interesting. And then last year, I had the opportunity to meet with all of the founders, and I realized that the team was fantastic. I had a chance to visit the office because Tyson invited me over, and I looked at the facility and saw how scrappy of a startup it was, and I got super excited. And then Aaron and I stayed connected, and that's how that came about. But sort of going back to your question, our Beltdraulic technology has two core benefits over hydraulics. First is greater productivity, and second is greater efficiency. Let's take the first one. Increases in productivity end up in reductions in the cost of goods. And that ends up creating wealth for everyone, right? I mean, you can have more money and that makes you wealthy, but you can have the same amount of money and things can start costing less, and that also makes you wealthy. I'm not wired to be a Mother Teresa, but through RISE, I can improve the quality of life, albeit in a small way, for a large number of people. That's really exciting. The second, as I mentioned, is efficiency.
Yep.
Now, yesterday was the hottest day on record on 3 continents. We don't have to agree about what's causing global warming, but we can agree on the fix, generating fewer greenhouse gases. Through RISE, I can impact the rate of electrification of industrial machinery. I can impact the transition to renewable sources of energy, and in a small way, slow down global warming. That's exciting.
That is, you're right. You hit the nail on the head there, with the opportunity that is out in front of us to go back to your point earlier, make a dent in the world. With that, there are so many opportunities. What are you seeing as the biggest opportunities for RISE? What made this so exciting for you that you couldn't pass it up?
You're absolutely right. RISE has opportunities everywhere: logistics, transportation, manufacturing, defense. We have inbound interest from all industrial sectors. Strategically, though, I'm not starting with the biggest opportunities. I'm actually starting with the fastest opportunities. I want to get our products out quickly and start making an impact. Now, within those fastest opportunities, of course, we'll look for the biggest ones, but I'm more concerned about speed than size of opportunity. There's just a huge market out there. Let's start making an impact quickly. One of the first things I want to do, for example, is start our sampling program. As part of that, we need to figure out which samples will attract the most interest. Then I'd like to restart our paused liftgate project and get that into market. On that project, we'd like to partner with companies that move quickly. The big players will join us once they see the benefits and start losing market share. Next, I'd like to tackle all the single-axis hydraulic machines one at a time. Container handlers and scissor lifts are on the top of that list because we can convert them from hydraulic to Beltdraulic systems very quickly. And then there are some fast-moving DoD programs that we expect will replace aging hydraulic systems with our Beltdraulic systems. Between all of these, I think we're going to be plenty busy for the next few years.
Yeah. That is, I think you're spot on in terms of staying busy. I love the idea of, when you got here, you got into the, we call it a lab, right? Where the office is. But when you're scrappy, you're able to meet those challenges. You have a completely different mindset if everything is, pristine and lab like. And so I love the idea that, we're going after these markets where we can make a difference quickly and then, then move on to maybe some of those larger areas. But in the meantime, there's also some challenges, whether that be the business, whether it be size, whether just the opportunity to move so quickly. What are you seeing as some of the obstacles potentially in the way?
Sure. In that, I don't think RISE is all that different from any other startup. Most startups have 3 big challenges: not enough cash, not enough customers, and taking on too much. We just closed a 15 million round, and our board has deep pockets, so cash is not a challenge for us at this time. Customers, we don't have a challenge with customers. We have a lot of interest. We just need to execute our strategy and we'll be fine. And the third challenge that startups have is indigestion, or taking on too much. I'd say this is our biggest challenge. We simply have too much work for the number of people we have, and we just need to be very selective about what things we work on. And so I'm prioritizing those things that get us to market fastest, because that's going to enable cash flow. That's going to enable increasing amount of customer and investor interest, and that will allow us to take on even bigger challenges.
You have the opportunity to take these challenges that you're outlining and turn them into opportunities. You have a fantastic track record of doing that in your previous stops. Where do you see the path forward, to making sure that those challenges don't become obstacles and they are opportunities in the future?
Yeah, I'd say making sure that we're consistently executing our strategy. So that would involve redeploying our resources on the things that are going to get to market fastest. And I think if we do that, we'll be able to convert all of our challenges into opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, with that, man, this has been so exciting to have you on. What are you most looking forward to? You've been here a month. You're looking forward with such a clear vision, it seems. What are you most looking forward to next?
Well, it's an exciting team. So I've really enjoyed getting to know everyone at RISE. We have a lot of talent. That's been fantastic. One other thing I'm looking most forward to is shipping products, right? As I mentioned, that's what I'm passionate about. There's an opportunity to do that here, ship millions of units. I want to make that happen.
Yeah. Well, Hiten, it's been great getting to know you. Great to be able to ask you questions and learn a little bit more about where you came from, what your vision is, where we're going as a company. I hope we get to do this more often.
Excellent. I hope so too.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on the new role. Welcome to the team. And thanks for leading us, man. This has been great.
Thank you, Justin.
On behalf of my guest today, new CEO of RISE Robotics, Hiten Sonpal, you've been listening to the RISE Inside podcast. Until next time, thanks for listening.
You have been listening to the RISE Inside podcast, presented by RISE Robotics. On behalf of our guest today and host Justin Starbird, thank you for listening. Please share your feedback on our LinkedIn page